Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Dermatology Journal Scan of the month of January 2026. A retrospective study in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology examined the real-world effectiveness and safety of oral Janus kinase inhibitors in vitiligo. The main JAK inhibitors reported were the baricitinib, tofacitinib, upadacitinib, and ritlecitinib. The study included 96 patients with vitiligo, and the treatment seemed to be ineffective in almost 50% of these patients. However, repigmentation occurred in the other 50%, and there was more than 25% repigmentation in 55% of patients. However, more than 76% repigmentation occurred only in 9% of patients. The next study examines the trichophyton indotini, which is a virulent new strain of trichophyton, and it is attributed to the misuse of medications, especially topical steroids. It is very difficult to diagnose trichophyton indotini with our regular culture diagnostic methods. We need genetic sequencing for proper diagnosis of trichophyton indotini. The authors found that trichophyton indotini is more resistant to terbinafine, griseofulvin, and fluconazole in comparison to itraconazole, voriconazole, and posaconazole. They also discussed that for treatment of resistant trichophyton indotini, higher doses of our regular antifungals and longer durations and antifungal shifting as well, for example, from terbinafine to itraconazole or from itraconazole to voriconazole may be helpful. In the JAMA of Dermatology, methotrexate was examined in comparison to mycophenolate mofetil in the treatment of morph, and both treatments seem to be equally effective to control disease activity and also in the flare rates. However, mycophenolate mofetil had a better tolerability with a pediatric dose of 600 to 1000 milligrams per meter square per day. In the Journal of Investigative Dermatology, there was an article correlating between the inflammatory markers and chronic kidney disease-associated pruritus. Difelikefalin was examined, which is a selective kappa opioid receptor agonist given in a dose of 0.5 microgram per kilogram intravenous after the dialysis session. The authors report a decrease in pruritus and also a decrease in inflammatory and pruritic markers, including chemokines, immune mediators like tumor growth factor alpha, interferon gamma, and neurotrophic markers like IL-31. The British Journal of Dermatology published an article about a plant extract known as Sinanio, which is a mixture actually of several plants. The article showed that this mixture improves alopecia areata in patients of the pediatric age group. There was a 40% or more improvement in SOLT score after 6 months of treatment in 26.2% of patients, while the placebo only 5% improved. For safety, it was as safe as placebo treatment. A clinically practical article was published in the Indian Journal of Dermatology, Venereology, and Nephrology, and in this article, they compared metformin to pioglitazone in the treatment of acanthosis nigricans. Both treatments were equal. They improved acanthosis nigricans equally. However, metformin was more beneficial for obese patients as it helped also in decreasing weight, while pioglitazone was more useful in non-obese patients with high insulin resistance. Thank you very much.